Now let's compare it with the E8, and let's start with the physical appearance. This is quite a bit shorter, noticeably thinner, which is nicer in pockets, but obviously wider. But the width doesn't really matter in a pocket. This fits nicely in a jeans coin pocket, while this one is a bit bulgy. I guess this is more like the size I was expecting when I got the A28. The round size does feel nicer to wrap your palm around versus the square shape. But on the square one you can get a better grip, a more secure grip. It is marketed as a versatile dual button hybrid keychain flashlight. But I think even though this is smaller than the A28, it's still kinda too big to be a keychain flashlight. At least for me. I don't know what you guys think. There are fortunately not one but two moonlight modes on this E8, and they're both accessible with just one click constant on. They still won't give us 3 different side LEDs though. Well, this time they did put 3 LEDs, but just like the A5, 2 of them are being used for the whites. That is also why I prefer the A28 over the A5 for the additional versatility. However, unlike the A5, the 2 white LEDs, warm white LEDs, are used separately. The low white is using 1 LED and the high is using 2. There are a few other minor things, but I think that's all that's left to be considered a perfect one, for me at least. Put white, UV, and red in the next upgrade for the E8X, maybe Rovyvon. I think the high and low white side LED can be done using just 1 LED. I believe like the A28 with the white side LED option. And they don't offer the combination of red and UV. It's gotta pick 1 plus the warm white. So I picked the UV, which is more useful for my use case. And I choose the cool white LEDs for the main emitter, so at least it has cool white, warm white, and UV, just missing the red, which I can probably find a hack or tweak using some filter. There is a white, red, and blue combination, but I believe that's more for low enforcement. Another reason I choose 6500K is because for some reason, while having 2 LEDs, this one is not as bright. The maximum is 700 lumens for the 6500K and 500 lumens for the 4000K, versus this A28 with 1000 lumens for 6500K and 700 lumens for the 4000K with just 1 LED. Let's compare. Now let's talk about the good stuff. This is kinda similar to the E200 series, but with clear instead of metal body. They also have some other models. Interesting that everything has dual button except for the original E3. Not only does this have dual buttons, it also have dual power as well. Another major con that I had in the past is proprietary batteries, or even worse, non-user replaceable batteries on the smaller ones. You kinda stuck with paperweights once the built-in battery eventually dies out. The bigger one can be replaced, but they are not using common battery. While this still has a built-in lithium battery for maximum output, but still has the option to use a regular battery for the runtime and the longevity. So when the built-in battery eventually dies out, instead of throwing it away, at least hopefully I still have a usable flashlight. The best of both worlds, I think. Without the additional battery slot, maybe can make half an E8 with just 1 LED and move the metal button over here. A8 generation 4 maybe. Actually, even though it's not advertised, this also can take 10440, which is great. They confirm it on social media, because the AA reduced the output quite drastically. It's merely 100 lumens versus 700. I'll test it out and compare the output. Okay, AAA turbo versus this. Now let's switch to 10440. Okay, on battery power. Again, turbo. A little bit brighter. I don't have two of these, so I cannot compare it side by side, but I think it's a bit brighter than the regular AAA. Back to AAA. Yeah, a little bit brighter, I guess. The only comments or room for improvement, I think, is this clamp. Seems a little bit fragile. Not sure how durable this is. Maybe should come up with a better way to keep this closed. I think for my use case, I will mostly use the built-in battery and keep the AAA as a backup only. That way I don't need to open and close this too often. I sure wish it had a battery indicator. Another reason why this AAA slot would come in handy. So when the built-in battery suddenly ran out, at least you still have some light. They could have and should have put a battery indicator, in my opinion. Instead, they have a power source indicator. Each time we turn the light on, it is showing which battery is currently using. And I think because of this swivel bezel, the water resistance rating is reduced to IPX6, down from equivalent IPX8 in this A28, which is understandable, I guess, with more moving part. I like the clear and matte combination of the body. It still maintains this curvy design from the E3, but maybe it would look better if this whole side is clear. I don't know what you guys think. I mentioned in my E200 video that I wish it has flush design. Fortunately, this one does. The luminous color is a nice touch. This has been in the series, not just this one. And in addition of the color, like the A28, the battery holder is also glow in the dark. Well, since it has a clear body, I thought I added the glow in the dark battery as well. The glow in the dark in the E7 looks nice with green and blue combo. So I thought I'd give it a try. But too bad it's too thick and would not work, as it doesn't spring back like this to make contact. I'll try to figure something out. Oh, when installing a battery, the power source automatically gets changed to the green. However, unlike the A28, very unfortunately, its UV can't charge its own glow-in-the-dark battery holder, since it's designed this way, separately on the side. This really puts a new meaning to side LEDs. Unlike the E5 and the E7, the side LEDs are really on the side. Not sure why I decided to do it differently for the E8 exclusively, but I think it looks kinda interesting this way. The ones on the E5 and the E7 are not perfectly aligned in the middle anyways. Since they need space for the AAA, the LEDs have to be slightly to the side. Not really a big deal, unless maybe you have an OCD. Oh, and that will also mean that you can't use it hands-free with the clip like this, with the light facing forward. It is a better ergonomics though, a more natural way of using side LEDs. With this, you're either kind of blocking it with your thumb, or blast the light to your face. Or you have to twist your hand awkwardly to point in the right direction. Whereas this way, they're all in natural position. At least for right-handed people. Well, it is still doable for the lefties, I guess. I kinda wish that it is flush as well, like the main LEDs. And a minor nitpick on my E200U review, I mentioned that the glue is not really neatly done. This one is the same. Initially I thought there's a screen protector or something, but nothing can be peeled off. It's even more noticeable when on the low white. But it does not affect the performance whatsoever. Honestly, I think I would prefer if it can be on the center line with the dual button, which is cleaner. And design wise, I think I still much prefer the A28 style. This is so pretty. Cleaner design, perfectly symmetrical. Don't get me wrong, this looks dashingly handsome too. But there's a bit too much going on all around. Like this side LEDs, this latch on the other side. Well, I guess the E-series were always meant to be a symmetrical design with this pattern. So might as well, right? There are 3 grooves here, and since they need it for the pocket clip, they still squeeze one groove here even though there are side LEDs and the USB port. And for some reason there's a torque screw here and here, and another one centered at the back. On the metal bezel as well, since there's the latch, the 2 grooves on this side are much smaller than on the other side. Which, don't get me wrong, this design might appeal to some people more than the symmetrical one. I just tend to like minimalist, cleaner design better. I don't know, can't really decide which I prefer. Design wise, maybe I lean a bit towards this A28, but everything else, especially the modes and the UI, this E8 is an easy pick for me. Okay, anyways, here are the different versions of the hybrids. The E5 with green glow in the dark, the E7 with blue glow in the dark. Their clear part are not as clear, more translucent. The bezel color on the E5 and the E8 are also not my cup of tea. I'm glad this one is using a more neutral color. Looks really nice actually. I saw a post where someone either heat treated or anodized the bezel of the A8 to have a slightly gold or tan color, which I think looks really beautifully different. There's also a metal button around the side LED. I think this is metal, which matched the color of the main one, unique to this E8 only. Well, since it's the only one with side LEDs. There is the E3, the first one with only one button. The E4 titanium with 4 tritium slots. Looks really nice and premium, but quite a premium price as well. And then there's the E1, the cheapest version with a polyamide material just like the A1. Has some nice color options. Oh, and they did release the A21 as well. While I'm preparing for this video, they announced the E11, some colored titanium. I just have to include it here, but probably would cost even more. I'm satisfied with this. Anyways, as I have said it before in my previous video, I think their strength is in their versatility with this clear body series, in my opinion. There are many clones, others trying to copy. As far as I know, Rovyvon was the first one that came up with this design, originally. Please correct me if I'm wrong. That color titanium looks dope though. Actually, I think there's a couple more with hybrid power, the H3 and the H3 Pro, but that's more a tactical style. Normally I'm a paracord guy, especially on the smaller lights. Not only for the looks, but also add a better grip and ergonomics, since they are so tiny. And still portable, since obviously the paracord is flexible, that you can still fold to maintain their short or small form factor. Another improvement compared to the A28 is the lanyard hole. It is combined with the keychain hole, which is a smart design. So when using a split link this way, you can lay flat Plus this looks beefier and sturdier than this one. Good job here. And this looks like it would benefit from having some paracord. No complaints on the clip. Reversible and deep carry clip. Seems sturdy enough, but I probably won't use, as I like to have it flat. Okay, as for the UI and buttons, honestly I think 2 buttons are not really necessary. Everything can be controlled with just 1 button. They now designed this to be operated separately. 1 button for the main LEDs and the other one for the side LEDs. On the E200U, they still kinda mix. The main button strictly for the main emitters and the side button for the side LEDs. Triple click on the side button can turn on the main emitter in moonlight mode. So this separation is a bit more clear. However, the UI is still not consistent and needs some getting used to remember them. Let's go a bit on the UI, then we'll do some beam shot comparison. I won't go over the ones on the spec, I'll paste them in the description below. I will instead go over it my way, which I think is more complete. I found some interesting observation. For the main operation, button 1. Moonlight, single click on, single click off, or long press for off, both works. While on or off, you can access the regular low, medium, high modes by double clicking. Turns on memory mode. Long press for off. Momentary high, press and hold. For button 2, back to single click for side, for the white side LED, but long press for off, since single click is used to switch between low and high. While on or off, double click or more for the UV. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also long press for off. As you can see, it's not really consistent UI. What I forgot and got wrong several times is the white side LEDs. Since it takes a single click for on, naturally I tend to do another single click for off, forgetting there's a high. And it could be bright during bedtime. I kinda get used to it and become second nature by the next day though. And if you want to be safe, you can see from the pattern, always long press for off, because this also does works. There are several other modes outside the main ones. So button 1 while off, triple click for strobe warning. Also works while in regular mode. Single click for off or long press for off both works. While on moonlight, only on moonlight, triple click or more to switch power. While off, quad clicks or more for software lockout. Most of us are probably already gotten used to this from Endurel. This is actually kinda better, since if you accidentally click more than 4 times, it will still lock and or unlock. In Endurel, I got into momentary mode when clicking 5 times, which then I had to untwist the whole things to get out of. The software lockout is indicated by 3 times 4 blinking blues. Obviously there's no hardware lockout since you can't unscrew this, so you have to rely on the software one. Since the button, even though flush, seems a bit too easy to click by accident. Happened to me a couple times, then I started using the lockout feature. Another quad clicks or more to unlock, which indicated by 2 times 2 blinking greens, and cannot be done using the button 2. Found a secret mode which is not so useful. When off, if you press and hold button 2, it will show you the power source indicator. Also note, while using button 1, the button 2 doesn't work, vice versa. Here are some specs for the official website. Okay, for the summary, what I like is the USB Type-C for future proofing, the dual power source, and the moonlight modes, and some wish list. Still have to pick and choose between red or UV, and not the brightest one compared to their other models. So I guess the search continues as Rovyvon keep innovating. Stay hungry, right? Still might pick up this A28X if and when it's available. I think that would take this place. But for now, this will be my perfect Rovyvon. What do you guys think of this? And what your version of the best Rovyvon would be? Please share with us in the comments below. Since it's not that bright and probably intended for indoor use, I thought I would just do a beam pattern and tint comparison indoors instead. The main LED is more focused, even though it's using two LEDs. As soon as you move back just a bit, it starts to combine into one nice beam, while still diffuse nicely. While the side LEDs have bigger noticeable hotspot and much more diffuse. Looks really pleasant in warm white. Okay, for moonlight comparison, only this tree has a true moonlight mode. The A5 is a bit too bright, and especially on the A28. These are all in their lowest mode. As you can see, the difference in the A28 is such a pity. Okay, for the tint comparison, the A8 was my first neutral white light ever, since there was no option for the cool white. Because the output is quite a bit lower and I was still a lumen chaser then. I'm very glad that they forced me to it. I was surprised how pleasant the tint was. I'm kinda a tint snob now, and always choose a neutral white or even warm white whenever possible. Not concerning too much about the output drop anymore. I only picked the cool white on the main A8 LED because the side LED are already warm white. For the PMW comparison, the A28 is actually the worst. But even it only looks bad on camera. I can notice it with my naked eye. Thanks for watching. Bye now.